One of the things that's been coming up a bunch for my course creators this year is that they need to expand into some new channels and find some new folks to get in front of. So today I want to talk about what's involved there and issue you a little challenge. So let's get to it. Let's jump in.
Welcome to the Course Creators HQ podcast, helping you navigate the latest techniques for creating and marketing online courses. And now, here is your host, Julie Hood.
Hey there, so excited to have you here for episode 229. And the links and the show notes for the things I'm going to talk about today will be at coursecreatorshq.com/229. So come grab those if you want to follow up on anything we talk about today. And I wanted to invite you to take a new step. Since it's the beginning of the year, I thought it would be interesting to share one of the things that's coming up with a lot of my course creator clients and some of the things that we've been talking about. And that is that they need to tackle a new channel this year. And first, let me explain what I mean by channel. And for me, this is, I would say, the Julie Hood definition of a channel is just one more place where you can connect with potential students. So there's so many channels that you can use, and a lot of them are very common, you know, all the social media channels, email marketing, all those kinds of things. And I've got a few new ones on the horizon and plus some old standbys that I think we should revisit. And I wanted to talk about this with you today. My thought for you is to pick one of these to add in as easily as you can. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. The big thing here, though, before I jump into that, is before you do any of this, make sure that you have your email newsletter set up and that you are good to go with that you have that routine in place, that you send out at least one email a week, including some promotions. So I've had some folks that have gotten really good at sending emails, and I jump on their list to kind of see what they're doing. And yes, they're connecting, but they're not promoting anything. They're just kind of, give me a call if you want to find out more. And you do have to do some heavy promotion in the emails for that to be working. So, which means by heavy promotion, I mean multiple emails talking about your offer and bringing it up. So, okay, so first off, I really want you to focus on getting your email newsletter up and running, getting a routine, getting that going. And because it's so important, I've set up an offer for you. My effortless email program walks you through step by step exactly how to do this. And I talk about how to write promotions, how different kinds of emails you can send, because maybe you like certain types, different things for you to consider, and then step by step how to get it up and running with your free gift and everything that you need to get going. So I wanted you to save $100 on this program. So there's a coupon code podcast2025. And you go to the link in the show notes, coursecreatorshq.com/podcast2025. That will save you $100 off the full program. Plus, I'm going to add a bonus of 8 weeks of live group coaching. So the page is not fancy, just a heads up. I wanted to get this up quickly for you, and it's been one of those weeks. So it's a jump in, and we're going to work together for 8 weeks to get you up and running. So jump in and let's get the email newsletter going. And then once you've got that, I want to jump in for the rest of this episode to talk about this concept of a new channel and what that actually means for you. Okay, new channels. First one that I want you to think about is Pinterest. If your audience is hanging out on Pinterest. So in general, it tends to be more female, but I should say There's a lot more on Pinterest than just recipes and decorating. So take some time to actually go through the concept of how you can use Pinterest. And I'm going to link to an episode that you can go listen to, plus a masterclass from my friend Jana on the basics of Pinterest. But the big thing that you need to know is that Pinterest is actually more of a search engine than a social media tool. So it doesn't require a lot of interaction or engagement. It doesn't require you to be out there constantly monitoring it. And the best part, my favorite part, is that it's long term. So what that means is when you put a pin out there, and it can live on and on and on for years. In fact, Jana has mentioned how she's still getting traffic from things that she posted years ago. And so it's been on my list that I need to do this, but I think if you have not explored Pinterest yet, at least start by listening to that episode and the masterclass and see if it's something that could be a good fit for you, because I want you to be building these long-term assets, especially as social media has gotten crazier and less effective. And especially, we can do all this stuff for Instagram, but then once it rolls off the feed, it goes away and doesn't really do much for you. Whereas if Pinterest is something that is going to live on and continue to send you traffic, that would be a much better investment of your time. So first one for a channel to consider is Pinterest. Second one is YouTube, and there's a couple things here. First off, YouTube is another one of the great long-term traffic options, because once you post a video out there, it's going to live on, and when someone jumps in to see it years from now, they could still click on the links in the description. So a YouTube commitment is a little bit more intense. Putting together decent YouTube videos is not a quick thing, but I do think it's got that long-term potential. It's also a great way to connect with your students. So if you're at all interested in YouTube, maybe consider that as your new channel for this year. The third one for us to talk about is Substack. And if you haven't heard of Substack yet, it is much more of a place for writers and folks who like to read and post text. It's a place, the way it's set up, it's designed for people to either join your free or your paid newsletter, where they get regular emails from you and regular posts from you. But there seems to be a decent resurgence of folks. It's been around for a bit, but I started to see some more interest in Substack recently. And you do want to kind of take the lay of the land, because there's a lot of features here that you can play with, but especially if you're a writer, or if you can turn some of your content into almost like blog posts, Substack could be a great place for you to hang out. It's also one of those things where you need to check and see if your audience is there, because you want to be posting in places where you can find your community. So, go out and start by searching your topic areas and see, are there people already talking about your content area? Follow them, connect with them, and then you want to start commenting on their posts and start your own posts if it seems like your audience is on Substack. So especially if you like to write, or you can generate writing content. So let me give you an example. One of my clients uses Cast Magic, and it automatically creates for them blog posts that they could then post on Substack. So you may have some AI tools that could help and speed that process up. Okay, and those come for her from her podcast. So she's doing the podcast, and then it's creating the content on the back end of it. That's number 3. Number 4, if you're into audio, you can consider doing more with either private podcasts or public podcasts, or I'm testing out some new tools for audio now. So there could be some options there, and maybe that's a channel that you want to explore. It definitely has an option for all audience areas, I think, except maybe maybe folks who only want to read that don't want to listen. But otherwise, I think there's pretty much an audience for every podcast. That's number 4, is to consider doing some more with audio. Number 5 is to set up your own affiliate program. And what I mean by this is you create a setup typically it's with your shopping cart, wherever your shopping cart is, where I'm an affiliate for you and you give me a unique link that I can share. And when I share it, it shows that I sent you a student who then buys. And when they buy, you give me a commission off your purchase. So maybe it's typically I like to do 30% of the purchase price, but I do less when it's something that has a lot of my time. So lots of live coaching or live help, then it might be as low as 10%. But that kind of gives you a general idea. The concept is that you've got this army of salespeople who are sharing out their unique links and talking about your program. And there's a lot to this, to setting up your own affiliate program. I'm going to link to an episode that I did way back, episode 35. Talked about doing joint ventures, and then 40 talked about how I was using affiliate marketing. So take a peek at that, play with that concept. If you're interested, I'm thinking about offering an ongoing coaching session where we'll be going through this, because we've got several of my folks who want to do this, and it would be easier if we all did it together and set this up. So keep that in mind if you want to use an affiliate program to connect with potential partners, to share your course and your coaching and get you new students. It is a great way to have another channel to use to get in front of your perfect folks. So that's number 5. And then number 6, I'm going to throw out, because it's an easy one to get started on. How effective it will be varies, but I do think this is an easy place to get started, and that is Threads. And Threads is kind of an offshoot of Instagram. So you need an Instagram account to have a Threads account, but then once you're set up with your Instagram account, you can go over and use Threads. And the concept is that it lets you use text, so you don't have to do video, you don't have to do gorgeous images. On Threads, it's just text. And the other thing that I love about Threads is it lets you put links inside the posts. So you don't want to do that all the time, because obviously then your posts don't get shared out as much, because Threads doesn't want you always sending people away from their tool off to your site. But it does give you an option, let's say, so you can do a bunch of posts that are just helpful in connecting, and then, hey, boom, you're doing a launch and a special, and you can put a post or two out there to link people over to check it out. So there have been some folks that have done really, really well on Threads, and especially if you want something quick and easy to do, it's pretty simple to go out to Threads and post a paragraph or two and connect with your audience. You'll need to then, the other thing that I do when I have time is go out and follow people who are either helping the same audience as me, or folks who I think might be interested in what I'm doing, because there is a general, then they check you out and they might be interested in what you've got going on. So Threads is option number 6. And I recognize I have gone through these pretty quickly for you, so be sure to check out the related episodes, because they will dig in a little deeper on these different concepts. There's one about Pinterest, there's one about Threads. I also talked about social media overall and what you could do about it. That's episode 158. 35 and 40 talk about the joint ventures and the affiliate marketing. So if you want to know more, this was kind of a high level. Let me inspire you to think about what you could add in this year to get in front of new students, because I'm noticing that we need to be doing more / different to find our perfect students. And the last thing I'll throw out about this is if you're already full, which I know a lot of you are, like your time is already full during the week, you're like, Julie, I don't have time to add another thing to my plate, then I want you to go through and really notice, is there something you could stop doing? Something you could end because it's not getting you the results that you want, because it's not really working anymore. Is there something you could slow down on? So, for example, maybe you're doing 3 reels a week on Instagram, but you're noticing that your reach is dropping. So maybe you only do 1 or 2, and you use that time that you would normally be doing the 3rd one to go out and post on Threads, or to go out and start putting some pins on Pinterest, that sort of thing. So you may need to stop something. I fully give you that permission. That I know everyone is super full and super busy, so it's okay. Sometimes when we get into the concept of you must be consistent, that sometimes we start feeling guilty if we ever change or stop things. And I want you to feel okay with, okay, we're going to change things up. We're going to do a test and see if things improve, if this new channel will help me reach some new folks who may be interested in what I'm teaching. And don't forget the email program, save $100 with the coupon code podcast2025. So you can go to coursecreatorshq.com/podcast2025, and that will get you started on the effortless email program. So that's first. Before you do any of these other things, do that first, because then we're going to use all these channels to help build your email audience and get you in front of new folks that you can nurture and connect with. And the last thing I will say about that is there was a study done, and for every $1 that businesses put into email marketing, they tend to get $36 back. $36 back. And I will challenge any social media person to see if they get that kind of return on the time that they're spending on social media. So think about that, and I've given you lots to jump into and really work on today and mull over and wake up at 6 a.m. thinking about. If you're like me, I'm like, ooh, waking up first thing in the morning thinking about what can I talk about and what would be most helpful for you all. So I hope this gave you some food for thought for the week, and that we get to work together soon. So come join us, and I will talk to you again next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing and following and sharing this podcast. I could not do it without you. And I actually, part of the reason it keeps going, that we're already on episode 229, is because of the support and the sharing and everything that y'all do. So thanks so much for being a listener. I hope you have an incredible week, and I'll talk to you then.